Winter Bells, the Almost Radio Play. Written by Pen Stroke. Produced by Joehighlord. Chapter 2. A Day with the Family. Twilight Velvet zipped back and forth from one side of the kitchen to the other. Her magic washed the dishes in the sink, and, at the same time, she poked her head in and out of the cupboards, making a quick mental grocery list.
Alright, let's hurry up and finish. We have to go and meet Cadence and Shining Armour at the train station soon.
Velvet, honey, relax. We have plenty of time.
Well, actually, we have 14 minutes.
Twilight, you're not helping.
Nyx stifled a small giggle as she took another bite from her cereal. The whole family was gathered around the kitchen table for breakfast. Velvet had quickly downed the bagel and was now fussing over the kitchen sink, trying to wash dishes as they became dirty. Nightlight was sitting calmly, drinking coffee and skimming through the morning paper. Twilight had toast and jelly with orange juice, which she was eating as she was fussing over the family's schedule for today. And Spike was next to Nyx, rolling his eyes.
Are they always like this?
Yep. Where do you think Twilight gets it from?
Once more Nyx giggled and took a final bite from her cereal. A moment later, the finished bowl was whisked away by Velvet's magic, where it met warm, soapy water in the kitchen sink. 5 minutes later they were all gathered near the front door, getting ready to head out for the train station. Scarves were donned, as were saddlebags and coats. The snow the night before had left a deep chill in the air. No pony would be outside today without a heavy coat.
Okay, is every pony ready?
Nyx gave a happy bounce as Velvet turned to face her. She was in the new jacket Twilight had gotten from Rarity's boutique and was grinning ear to ear. She was still a little anxious about going to meet Shining Armour, but at the moment, what Nyx wanted most of all was to go outside and play in the fresh snow as they walked to the train station.
Oh, Nyx dear, I think you're missing something.
I am? What is it?
Well, honey, could you...
Twilight sighed, nodded, and gently touched her hoof to Nyx's shoulder. The pair stepped away from the front door, moving over by the kitchen as Twilight opened her saddlebags. She withdrew a familiar headband, making Nyx smile.
I thought I had lost it. Where did you find it?
I didn't find it, Nyx. I borrowed it. I needed to put some enchantments on it.
You mean like the enchantments you had on my old glasses, don't you?
I know you don't like to wear disguises anymore, Nyx, but you saw those reporters yesterday. They were there at the train station because they found out you were coming here with me. I intend to talk to Princess Celestia about it when I have a chance. Still, that doesn't change the fact that they were there. And I don't want them or any pony else ruining Heartswarming Eve for you just because they don't want to forget what happened. I want you to be able to come with us when we go to pick out logs and sing carols. But to ensure that happens, you'll need to wear a disguise.
All the time?
Whenever we're in here in the backyard, you can take the headband off. You just need to wear it when we're outside with the other ponies.
But what about the hearthwarming party? My friends are going to be there and I don't want to have to wear a disguise around them.
Well, the party is going to be at the castle. Hell, we know every pony that's going to be there, so... Okay, deal. You don't have to wear it at the party. But for right now, would you please put it on?
Okay.
Gently, Twilight placed the headband on Nyx's forehead, using her magic to tuck a few stray strands of her mane into place. She and her mother had been planning the hearthwarming party ever since Nightmare Night, and this was the one part that her mother had almost demanded. This was an evolution in Nyx's disguise. It wasn't just a vest to hide her wings and glasses to hide her eyes. This was a whole body illusion spell, the very same kind of spell applied to the armour worn by the royal guards. Once Nyx felt the spell take hold, she opened her eyes.
How do I look?
A lot more like Rarity than I thought you would. But I guess that's what I get for not trying to rewrite the part of the enchantment that changes your coat color to something other than Royal Guard white. Now come on, let's go meet your Uncle Shining Armour and Aunt Cadence. Sunshine, sunshine, ladybugs awake. Clap your hooves and give a little shake.
The train had arrived right on time, and, after unloading their luggage, Shining Armour and Mia Cadence happily greeted the ponies who were waiting for them. Cadence and Twilight broke down into giggles and hugged tightly after finishing their nursery rhyme. A few feet away, Shining embraced Velvet and Nightlight, greeting his parents the only way a loving son could.
How was the train ride?
Long. The royal train car is nice, but I can only stand being cooped up in the same room for so long. It reminds me a little too much of the time I spent in the gemstone caverns beneath Canterlot.
What gemstone caverns?
Cadence turned her head, glancing down at Philly who was standing beside Twilight. Her coat was white and she was wearing a winter jacket that went with her mane and a headband that matched her eyes.
Cadence, this is Nyx.
But I thought...
It's the headband, and I'll explain why later.
The family of 6 then began to make their way off the platform.
Good. Shining Armour and I took the week off and just relaxed after Celestia and Luna retook the throne. I don't know how they managed to get Canterlot back into order so quickly. This place was a madhouse after Nyx relinquished the throne.
Was it really that bad?
Well, I guess it wasn't that bad. Shining Armour got the guards working to make sure Canterlot was safe, and I did my best to deal with the nobles. I guess they were just a little worried you'd change your mind and want the throne back, at least until Celestia and Luna returned. But it all worked out in the end, didn't it? Celestia and Luna came back, you got to stay with Twilight, and I didn't have to use that rebel army I was building.
You were building an army?
Well,
Yes, she was.
Cadence turned to see that Shining Armour had came up beside her.
But I'm glad I didn't have to use it. Now, honey, why don't you go say hello to Nyx? She is your niece, after all.
Shining Armour glanced down at Nyx. She looked up at him, and, for a moment, they just stared at one another. Nyx forced a weak smile, but Shining Armour's jawline only tightened.
Hi. Mom, have you gone and picked out logs for the fire yet?
No, but that is our next stop. After all, Cadence said in her letter she wanted to enjoy all of our holiday traditions, and I wouldn't want to deny my favorite daughter-in-law the chance to have a perfect hearth's warming.
Isn't she your only daughter-in-law?
Yes, but that doesn't change the fact that she's my favorite.
Shining Armour nodded and picked up his and Cadence's luggage with his horn.
I hope you don't mind if we stop by the house first, though. I just want to drop off the bags.
Velvet and Shining Armour trotted away at that. Nightlight and Spike followed a few steps behind. This left Cadence, Twilight and Nyx standing on the platform.
I'm so sorry, Twilight. He's been like this for the past few days.
No, it's okay. I knew there'd be a chance he'd be like this. But it'll be all right. I know we'll get through to him, won't we, Nyx?
If you say so.
Welcome to LumberJack's Log and Tree Emporium. If you're looking for trees, check spruce we have in the back. Fresh cut and perfect for any living room. Or, if you're more traditional sort, examine our fine selection of logs from Rainbow Range. I guarantee we have perfect color no matter what you're looking for.
LumberJack, the owner of this so-called emporium, smiled as he welcomed another family. He was an earth pony with a coat that was tree bark brown, with a large saw for a cutie mark. He was wearing a red and black plaid shirt and a constant smile. Turning back to the nearby street, LumberJack watched as a large taxi carriage pulled up outside his emporium, if one could even call it that. LumberJack's shop was really just a roped-off part of the parking lot at Canterlot Race Grounds, but that didn't keep his mood or his reputation down. Every pony knew that if they wanted good quality logs or trees, then LumberJack was the stallion to go to.
Ah, Nightlight. I was wondering when I would see you old spiral head.
It's good to see you too, Jack. Though you're looking a bit heavier than last winter.
What do you expect with his cold, my friend? When LumberJack is standing outside all day, he needs way to stay warm.
He playfully slapped his belly, making no effort to hide he was a heavy-set pony. He then walked up to the carriage, extending a hoof and helping Velvet down from the interior.
But my friend, your wife fares better than me. You're looking as lovely as ever, Twilight Velvet.
I trust business has been good, Jack?
Oh yes, very good.
He then turned to greet the next pony getting down from the carriage.
Princess Mia Cadenza, you do this old stallion great honor by visiting his humble tree and log emporium. And Shining, I swear, you're getting bigger every time I see you, and in good way. Big and strong, not like LumberJack, who just gets big. But hey, what can I say? I can't get away from Canterlot Donut Shop to save my life. And Spike, my little dragon friend, I was hoping to see you sometime soon. I ran out of matches and there are some scraps of kindling I need burnt in back of Emporium. It's in big red steel drum. You know the one. If you can give me a light, I can give you this.
LumberJack reached into the pocket of his jacket and retrieved a blue gemstone the size of a coin, which he tossed into Spike's waiting claws.
Hey, setting a fire is something I can handle.
This I know. You almost burnt down half my sock first time you came here with Twilight. Ah, but it is good memories.
He then turned back to the carriage and, with a big smile, scooped up the next mare off the carriage into a big bear hug.
And Twilight Sparkle, my little lifesaver. Thank you for finding book on the wood weevils. My trees, my logs, heartwarming itself. They were saved because of you and your beautiful brain.
Thanks, Jack. But I can't.
Oh, sorry. This old log chopper doesn't know his own strength sometimes.
LumberJack quickly set Twilight down. He used the hoof to brush some of the bits of sawdust that had transferred from his shirt to Twilight's coat. He then looked back at the carriage, eyes lighting up like a kid who had just seen a new toy.
And who is this?
Nyx tried to retreat back into the carriage, but LumberJack proved too fast. Despite his size and heavy-set physique, he grabbed Nyx by the hind leg and pulled her from the carriage, holding her upside down and cocking his head to one side.
Nightlight, why did you not tell me you and Velvet were going to have another foal? I would have sent present.
Actually, Nyx is mine.
This is yours? But you are so young, Twilight. You are still foal yourself. How can your filly this old? Also, why Nyx? Nyx is not a good name. No. Her coat is too white for that. No, I shall call her Little Snowflake.
But my name is Nyx.
First thing to know, Little Snowflake, is LumberJack always knows best. Why? 'Cause I am LumberJack. It is simple as that. Now, Little Snowflake, is this first time you've been out to pick Heartwarming's log?
It's actually my first housewarming, but my name isn't...
First housewarming! Twilight, where did you find Little Snowflake? In woods?
LumberJack roared with laughter at his own joke, while Twilight could only laugh nervously. Still, Jack took no notice. He instead turned and carried Nyx into the Emporium.
A child this old should not only just be having her first heartwarming. Come, Little Snowflake, you hear heartwarming story from LumberJack.
But I already know it.
Nyx tried to jump off LumberJack's back, but her efforts were blocked by the turn of his head. All the while, Twilight trotted behind, nervously keeping an eye on the pair.
Oh, really? Then tell LumberJack what you think you know.
Hearthwarming is a celebration of the founding of Equestria. It is the day the leaders of the 3 pony tribes agreed to live together in harmony and friendship after almost freezing to death at the hooves of the Wendigos.
LumberJack looked back at Twilight.
Ah, she is smart like you. But tell me, Little Snowflake, why is it that ponies buy my special wood and put my trees in their homes?
I don't know, 'cause they're pretty?
No!
LumberJack turned abruptly, almost unseating Nyx from his back. He lifted a hoof to gently stroke the branch of a nearby fir tree.
Trees, they are old Earth pony tradition. In cold of winter, on the day of solstice, when sun's time in the sky is shortest, Earth ponies of old country would bring evergreens, like this fine fir, into their homes. Evergreens, as the Earth ponies saw them, were guardians of spring. They withstood the bitter cold of winter, staying awake when all other plants and trees slept. Then, when it was time for spring, evergreens would wake up all the other plants. I don't know how. Trees, they don't have mouths to shout with, but they wake up all the other trees and plants just the same. Personally, I think they tug on roots. LumberJack knows he can't stay asleep when somebody pulls his leg. But trees, they aren't for your family.
LumberJack trotted away from the trees, and to the other side of the lot where there were large, but neatly organised piles of wood. Near each pile of wood was paired a small fire pot on which burnt a sample log from the pile. The fires, however, didn't burn in normal tones of red and orange. No, the fires were a rainbow of colours. Some were green, some were blue, and there was a large number of them burning in different shades of pink. And amongst the pink fires, Jack, Nyx and Twilight were able to see the rest of the family. Velvet was pointing at one of the pink fires as she and Cadence followed behind Nightlight.
Honey, what about this one?
No. 2 salmon.
What about that one? That one looks nice.
Cadence motioned towards a different fire.
Close, but no. It's too orange.
But it's pink. There's no orange to it, is there?
Cadence looked to Shining for reassurance, but Shining just laughed and set a hoof on Cadence's shoulder.
Trust me, if my father says there's orange, there's orange.
LumberJack laughed and pointed a hoof at the rest of Twilight and Nyx's family.
See, this is what I am talking about. For your family, little snowflake, there's only one thing LumberJack can provide. A traditional hearth-warming log.
He quickly brought Nyx close to one of the fire pits, one where a rose-pink fire was burning gently. He bent low, letting himself and Nyx enjoy the warmth coming off the flames.
You say you know hearth-warming story, yes? Then you know of famed hearth-warming fire, yes? Spell cast by, what was her name?
Clover the Clever.
Yes, her. That spell, that fire, it is what kept leaders of the 3 tribes and their aides alive in Cold Cave. It is also what drove away Wendigos. So, it became tradition for families in newly founded Equestria to burn logs all through the night, from heartwarming eve to heartwarming day. They do this to keep fire of friendship, family, and harmony alive, while ensuring Wendigos never return.
But why are so many of them pink?
Ah, little snowflake, this is because fire in the old story is pink. It is also because LumberJack's grandpapa's grandpapa found that certain trees in Rainbow Mountain Range burned with different colors. So yes, truly traditional hearth-warming fire is plain orange, but plain orange is not special enough for hearth-warming. So for those who want that extra bit of holiday cheer, LumberJack sells logs that burn pink, blue, green, and white. LumberJack even has logs this year that burn purple. Those very rare. I'll give you good price too.
Twilight seized the opportunity to put herself back in the conversation. She levitated Nyx off his back and set her down on the snow-covered ground.
Thank you, Jack. But you know my dad. He's the one that picks the color, and he always wants traditional pink.
Ah, but this is why I love your father.
LumberJack joked as the trio began walking to the part of the lot where most of the pink burning logs were kept. They could see the rest of the family in the distance, standing behind Nightlight, who was inspecting a trio of pink fires.
He has very discerning eye. We'll only take best pink color, and after he picks, I can raise price on those logs and make mint.
This one right here. LumberJack, give us 4 dozen of these logs.
LumberJack laughed, lifted a hoof and slapped Twilight in the back.
What did I say? Your father, I could kiss him.
He then trotted towards the rest of the family, while turning and shouting at one of the other ponies who was working at the Emporium.
Hey, Twinut, get your lazy flank over here and get my best customer 4 dozen from stack 32. Then make new sign for stack 32. We have a premium grade, aha!
As LumberJack went to seal the deal, Twilight placed a forehoof on her back, rubbing the spot where she was slapped. Still, through the pain, she was smiling.
That went well.
But he hung me upside down and called me little snowflake.
He did that to me when I first came here, and he did it to Shining too. I think his old name for me was Grape. No, wait, it was Brainy Grape.
Nyx cocked her head to the side and looked over at LumberJack, who was crushing Nightlight in a bear hug.
So he does that to every pony?
Well, he does that to every little filly and colt the first time they come here. I just think it's how he gets to know ponies. That, and I know for a fact he loves to tell little fillies and colts the story of why trees and color logs are used as hearth-warming decorations.
Well, I guess it was kind of fun to find out about that.
Kind of fun? Just kind of fun? My daughter, Miss, loves to learn everything about everything. Only found that kind of fun.
Okay. It was a lot of fun.
She then bounced a little, a smile of inspiration spreading on her face.
Hey, can I pick out a hearth-warming log too?
But, well, my father's a bit protective about the fireplace. We can only put the logs he picks out in there. But if you pick a color really quick, and if we find a small piece, we can burn it in the grill that's in the backyard.
Even with the restrictions on size and time, Nyx jumped for joy and quickly sprinted off to pick a colour. This left Twilight to run after her, a smile on her face as her hooves kicked up snow. Not too far away, Nightlight and LumberJack was swapping stories from the year, as his worker, Twinot, stacked and tied 4 dozen logs that had been ordered. Colum sat on a park bench, face bent down in a scowl. A candy cane protruded from his lips, though it was a wintry treat that wasn't as innocent as it looked. On the inside of his mouth, Colum's tongue was licking away at it angrily, whittling the candy cane's end into a fine point. He was thinking of his editor as he turned the festive treat into a sharp, dangerous tool for stabbing. The same editor that had reprimanded him and Quicksnap for detouring to the train station and coming back without a story. Come on, Colum. Headline wants us to cover the festival, and we can't do that unless you interview some ponies.
headline could fall in a vat of ink for all I care. The Canterlot Heartwarming Festival is not headline news, Quicksnap. We'd be lucky to get in the paper at all with this feel-good garbage. Oh look, a little kid has won a stuffed Princess Celestia toy at the ring toss. Oh, this has such political and cultural ramifications. Our society will never be the same. We aren't going to get anywhere, Quicksnap, unless we find the real stories.
Quicksnap rolled his eyes and turned to resume taking pictures. He lined up a shot of a colt throwing snowballs at a stack of bottles. The young pony was rearing back, about to throw what looked to be like one doozy of a curveball. But then Quicksnap noticed something moving in the background. It was large, too large to be a normal pony, and, for the most part, it was pink. Hey, Colin!
What? Did some kid drop his hot chocolate in the snow again?
I think I just saw Princess Miomore Cadenza. Colin sat up on the bench as he twirled the candy cane in his mouth. He then turned, spat it out into a nearby garbage can, and got up from the bench.
Well, the princess and her wedding may be yesterday's news, but it's still better than all these snot-nosed brats. Load up a fresh roll of film. Maybe we'll get lucky and catch her out with another stallion. Nothing sells papers like trouble in marital paradise.
Cadence's tongue hung out of her mouth and her stomach gave an audible grumble as she looked over the food stalls and tents at Canterlot's half-warming festival. Pies, cakes, hearty soups, chili, chocolate-dipped strawberries, and so many other holiday foods and treats beckoned to her like sirens of the sea. It took all her self-control not to use her title as princess to jump in front of a line.
Now, remember every pony. We only have an hour before we need to scamper off and go caroling. Grab something quick and then meet back at this table. And don't ruin your appetites. We're going to a big dinner put on by my publisher tonight, and I want us to clean our plates while we're there so we don't offend any pony. Got it?
We got it, honey. Come on, Shiny. I saw some carameled apples back there. Let your old man buy you one.
Can I get a caramel apple too?
I think you've had enough sweets today. Or do you think I didn't notice that spoonful of sugar you got Spike to put in your cereal this morning? Or the candy cane LumberJack gave you before we left his tree yard?
Nyx smiled, laughed weakly, and tried to look innocent, but Twilight just rolled her eyes. She used her hoof to gently give Nyx a bump on the flank, guiding her away from the caramel apple stall.
Come on. I see a stand over there selling fresh fruit salads. Cadence, you want to come with us?
Cadence's gaze lingered on the pie she'd been eyeing, but then she sighed and reined in her appetite.
Sure. I could use something light after the big breakfast I had.
Mom, you coming?
No. Your father's getting me something, and one of us has to stay back here to keep an eye on the table.
That moment, another family began to approach. Velvet turned and fixed them with a firm glare.
It's taken!
Oh, okay. Have fun with that.
Twilight, Nyx, and Cadence began walking towards the fruit stall.
I don't remember your mother ever being this tense around the holidays. It's because of me, isn't it?
No. Well, some of it may be because of you, but not all of it. Her publisher is starting to lean a little on her to finish the latest book, and she's stuck on the last couple of chapters.
With a small bounce, Nyx leapt up onto Twilight's back, and then leaned to one side, craning her head around Twilight's neck.
Your mom writes books? Have I read any of them?
Call her Grandma, Nyx. And no, you haven't read any of her books. She writes mystery novels for adult ponies, and those books are a little more mature than what you should be reading.
But I read books like that when I was a big pony. Why can't I read them now?
Well, because...
Twilight tried to argue, only to find her words turn to mush in her mouth. Once again, Nyx's less than straightforward age was giving her a headache. Nyx had been a full-grown mare at one point, and if she had read those kind of novels before, then there was no point trying to keep them from her. At the same time, she was, physically and mentally, a filly again, but still.
Wouldn't you rather read some of the old books in Twilight's bedroom?
A sly smile appeared on Cadence's lips as she, Nyx, and Twilight got into line at the fruit stand.
She has dozens of them. In fact, I bet she still has that book about Smarty Pants.
Cadence looked over at Twilight.
You remember that book, don't you? I probably read it to you 100 times.
I do remember, and I still have it. It's... Oh! Oof!
She stumbled a little as Nyx landed on her.
Can I read it?
Yes, you can, Nyx, but only if you get down.
Nyx was off Twilight's back in an instant. She then fell in line beside Twilight, trying to be as well-mannered and behaved as possible, while, at the same time, bouncing with enthusiasm. Cadence's sly smile grew as the line moved forward, bringing the trio closer to the fruit stand. She leaned into Twilight and whispered,
I still got it.
Princess Cadenza! Twilight Sparkle! Over here! Look over here!
Twilight and Cadence stumbled, blinking to try and get the spots out of her eyes while Nyx ducked beneath Twilight. The flash had come from a camera, and soon the two mares and filly were under auditory and ocular assault. The teal photographer pony was circling them like a fly around garbage, taking pictures as fast as his camera would allow. The beige unicorn reporter shouted as he held a pencil and notepad in his magic.
Twilight Sparkle! When did you get into town? Did you purposefully dodge reporters at the Canterlot train station? What really happened to Nightmare Moon? Who was that filly? Princess Cadenza! Is that child one you and Shiny had out of wedlock? Was your royal wedding nothing more than a shotgun wedding? Have you been gaining weight? Kid! Yes, you, little filly! Who are you? Did you inherit that white coat colour from Shining Armour? Who's your daddy?
The two ponies suddenly found themselves inside a pink sphere as Shining Armour galloped up, coming to the rescue. His brow was furrowed, and he was snorting out of his nose like an angry bull. The reporter and photographer smiled and waved at him, but the small gesture did not dissuade Shining. With a flash of magic from his horn, the sphere rocketed skyward. The bubble shield moved and swerved like an angry bee, shaking the reporter and photographer around until it settled above a large pile of snow. Then, with a small pop, it disappeared, dropping the two ponies into a pile of grimy, wet snow that had been cleared off the streets of Canterlot. Their fall into the dirty slush was punctuated by a pair of shouts and wet splats. Shining snorted, venting his irritation one final time before turning to look back at Cadence and Twilight, as Velvet and Nightlight came trotting up.
Twilight, honey, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What about you, Cadence?
I'm okay. They just startled us, that's all.
Why did they do that?
Nyx slowly came out from beneath Twilight. She was rubbing her eyes, still trying to make the flash-induced spots go away.
They were probably after me. Those paparazzi ponies always like to harass princesses. It's been a while since Shining and I have been in Canterlot.
No, it's not your fault.
Shining Armour flicked his gaze in Nyx's direction and glared at her for just a moment.
I'm sure they were after something else.
Nyx winced, took a step back and hung her head. Shining's glare may have been brief, and no pony else may have noticed it, but Nyx received the message, loud and clear.